What's up guys, Demon Killer here, back with another DIY e-liquid recipe, and this is episode 3 of Mixing with Black. Today we are going to be doing a tobacco recipe called Appy Tobaccy. It's an apple tobacco, it's very sweet, with a very mild tobacco aftertaste. The tobacco I'm using for this is Western, well the tobacco concentrate is Western, from the Flavor Apprentice, and it's quite a strong dry tobacco. So if you guys would prefer other tobaccos, you could use something like RY4 or 7 Ships, which are both much milder tobaccos. You'll find that with this though, it is fairly mild. It's not a huge piece of the recipe because it's only at, I believe, 2%, so it's actually not that high. But yeah, best part about DIY is you can do it how you want to do it. Once again, all the things that I'm using in this video, all the concentrates and tools were all bought at blackvapor.co.za. And yeah, we'll be showing the flavor cards next, and then we'll get to the mixing. So I hope you all enjoy that. Hey guys, we're back, and we're ready to do our mix. As usual, we have all our concentrates. We have Western, we have apple, we have smooth, whoops, down goes the smooth, and we have the sweetener. We have Goldneck, which is my preferred nicotine, and we have VG and PG. We have a scale, bottle, pipette, and gloves on the hands. As always, when working with nicotine, rather be safe than sorry. So, yeah, I will admit that when I was watching videos on other flavor compounders and things, I wasn't 100% sure about tobaccos. Like, I thought to myself, it might be quite harsh. Like, when I was smoking my first, well, vaping on my first e-cigarette, I only had tobacco flavors, and at best a menthol flavor. And to be honest, they weren't particularly good. So for me, I kind of stayed away from them for a little while. But the first time I actually tried to make one, which was a pretty much apple Western mix, there was none of the sweetener or the smooth to help even everything out. I found it was actually quite nice. It's very subtle. It's not like a cigarette. It's very earthy sort of notes. Like, it's very different to what you expect from real tobacco. Like, I have a bag of tobacco, and it smells nothing like it. I mean, it has hints of the same things, but it's not exactly the same. So anyway, we're going to start with 0.65 of nicotine. This is at 3 milligrams. So yeah, we're going to start with 0.65. The beautiful thing about the tobacco flavors is that if you're using predominantly tobacco flavors, so if you're adding notes to a tobacco flavor instead of doing what I'm doing, where you have the tobacco almost as a back note, you can actually get your nicotine quite high. You could have it quite easily up at 12-18% and barely even notice any flavor from the nicotine, which is quite a nice thing for those who vape on higher concentrations of nicotine. So we're going to do the PG first again. It's 2.46 grams of PG. Like I said, I'm probably going to be mixing this up here and there just to keep things a little different. 2.46 I said. From time to time I get halfway through this and then I forget what number it is I'm supposed to be going for, and I'm like, damn, have I already overshot it? But not in this case. I must admit, I was quite surprised when I had this flavor for the first time, because it's actually really good. Like, I did not for a second think that in any way I would want to go back towards the things that I've tried to get away from, which is obviously cigarettes. And to be honest, it does give a very nice, like I said, almost earthy, like deep flavor to your juices. It's not rough at all. I mean, I'm sure if you go crazy with it, then for sure. But in the ratios that we're using here, this is 2%. Like I said, it's really not harsh at all. And we've got 6% apple. So that's the next thing to go in is 6% apple. So we have 0.6 of that. I don't think I've mentioned yet, but this is just a 10 ml batch we're doing. The one thing that I'm not a huge fan of with the tobacco flavors is the steep time. I am not the most patient person in the world, and when I have to let a flavor steep for 2 weeks, that is a very difficult thing for me to accomplish, because I'm the type of person that pretty much within 24 hours, I want to be in that flavor. I don't want to be playing games waiting forever. Like, for sure, if a flavor needs a week to steep, like your creams, I'm of course going to give that a week, but I want to at least taste it like the very next day, just to see if it's going in the right direction. Next we have 1% of smooth. This is 0.10 of smooth. Nice thing about smooth, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure what it's supposed to taste like, because there is a definite scent to it. It smells quite sweet, but what I do know about it is that it rounds out flavors quite nicely, especially with the tobacco flavors. They tend to have slightly harsh edges that could do with a little bit of rounding out, and that's what the smooth is there for. Next we have 1% of sweetener, which is also going to be at 0.1. This you could also change if you wanted a little bit sweeter. You could obviously go anywhere up to, I'd say, 3%. But to be honest, I would probably just up the apple. Personally, I would maybe up the apple by 1%, and if that hasn't brought your sweetness up, or if you just want it sweeter, you don't want extra apple, then definitely put the sweetener up to maybe 2%, maybe 3% if you want it really, really sweet. But you got to remember with the tobacco mixes, you're generally trying to go for a more deep sort of mix. So you want to go for like a deeper apple and a deeper cherry, and not so much your bananas and caramels and all those very light things, in my personal opinion. But I mean, it's always up to you. And then we have 2% of the Western, like I said, which is at 0.2 grams. Beautiful thing about the 10 mils is it's pretty much 10%. So pretty simple to work that out without needing to use any calculators. And then also, with this, if you guys decide to do any of these yourself, you can pretty much adjust the ratios. Like, I give you the percentages. I don't give weights and things like, yes, I tell you how much I'm about to put in right now, but you can actually basically adjust these recipes any which way you want. And last but not least is 757 of the VG. This is also a 60-40 ratio, just for that little extra bit of throat hit, which is why we have a little bit less PG in this. And of course, if you don't want the throat hit, you could very easily do this in a 70-30 or a max VG, whatever you prefer to mix your liquids with. I can say though that a little bit of extra VG does help to carry the tobacco flavors. So we need 757, which we have, plus a little extra. And I missed a drop on the scale to... Whoops, life goes on. But yeah. And because this has a 2-week steep, I am not going to be trying this on the camera right now. Whoops. A little bit of excess came out the top. That is fine, just fine. But there we have it. A little 10 ml bottle of Appy Tobaccy. A very simple recipe for beginners, and I think has great subtle tobacco flavor and really nice apple flavor. It's also not very rough. It's a very sweet vape. Like I said, you can increase the sweetener if you want. But as it is, I think it's plenty sweet. And it tastes pretty good. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you give it a try, as always, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have any ideas for recipes you want me to try. And yeah, we will get back to you soon. I'm probably going to be uploading on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That might end up changing to Mondays and Fridays. I don't quite know. We'll figure it out as we go. But at this point that I got a lot of recipes on my hands, we will be doing it as often as I can. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.